Oh, there we go. Good Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We are tracking storms across a good portion of the US right now. I'm just kind of going through the radar here, talking about storms that you can see. Tornado warned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 tornado warnings that are not confirmed. However, we have 1, 2, 3 tornadoes, 4 that are confirmed right now. So we have obviously a very, very busy evening ahead of us. So let's take a look at these storms. Highlighted there in pink, those are your confirmed tornado warnings. Highlighted in red, those are your tornado warnings. We've got some of these outlined, these yellow boxes outlined in black here. That would be confirmed for either high wind or large hail for this one. Not quite sure what they have here, maybe just confirmed for quarter size hail right here, but we'll get to some of those tornado warnings. Tell me where you're watching from so that I can kind of tailor this chat to you guys. I mean, this is kind of a back and forth chat. What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see more of Texarkana, or do you want to see Jonesboro? Do you want to see Jackson? Memphis, we've been watching this storm that's to the southwest of Memphis right now for quite some time. I think that it did produce a tornado out in DeWitt, Arkansas, and we told you back by Star City that it was going to produce some really large hail. We got I think, tennis ball size report in Star City, or it was at least warned for tennis ball size hail just outside of Star City. Continued to track up to the northeast, and now that storm, tornado warned, produced a tornado in DeWitt and is now looking pretty promising for Memphis, maybe the north side of Memphis. We'll see if it can hold together, but it is tornado warned right now. For this tornado warning, we could see up to quarter size hail, so the hail size not as large as what we could see across some other places here. Let's check this one. So right here to the north of Texarkana, Arkladelphia, Sparkman, Willow, Leola, this is warned for 2-inch size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Tail end Charlie here. You can see that it's the tail end of this long line of storms. It's broken off from its other line of storms back by Texarkana, which allows it to develop and organize a little bit better than what we would see these storms that are in the middle of this system here. Even then, it does look like we got a baseball size report from, what storm was this? This storm right here that came from, is this Beebe, Griffithville to Augusta? Baseball size hail report here, 2.75 inches. That is massive. I think that I had tennis ball for your hail sizes today. So we have now overperformed our forecast that we had for you all today. We have gotten other tennis ball size reports out there. Just outside of Nashville in Ashland City, we got some tennis ball size reports as well. Ted asks about Texarkana. Dallas is watching. Mark, you're going to have storms late tonight, technically early tomorrow morning. Louisville, Kentucky, and Jackson, Mississippi. So Jackson, Mississippi is still getting storms, actually. We've been getting storms for about 3 hours in Jackson, Mississippi. So there's your tornado warning. Just one of many that we've seen tonight. Here's your other tornado. Now, we were live tracking this warning right here. I think this is the one that we were live for. There's a chance I'm wrong on that. But yeah, Jackson, Mississippi. You've had multiple storms go right through the city that produced a tornado, and then you've got a tornado warning on the northeast side of the city right now, going into Lexington, Clarksburg, Holiday. Louisville, Kentucky. Let's talk about Louisville, Kentucky. You can see that in the chat here. Oh, where did we go? Let's go back. Okay. Louisville, Kentucky. You still have about maybe 2 hours, 3 hours here before those storms will approach you. Now, it depends. You need to be keeping an eye on these storms that are down in Bowling Green right now. This is the storm that you need to be watching for. Don't be terribly concerned about this yet. Here in a few hours, you'll get this line storms. But this is going to be your problem storm. This is where we could see those major supercells, those violent tornadoes. This is the storm that you got to watch for right here. Either this storm down in the south side of the state near Franklin, or this other storm coming out of Tennessee right now in Clarksville. You've even got another one down in Lexington that could eventually make it to Louisville, Kentucky. So you're good right now. However, within the next hour or two, you definitely need to be keeping watch. Franklin, Nashville, or Clarksville, Tennessee. So we kind of talked about Nashville earlier. We've got some storms on the north side of Nashville right now. We had got a 2.5 incher, tennis ball size hail. Oh, let's see. This was about an hour ago now, about 45 minutes ago. This storm that's going into Franklin right now produced a hailstone 2.5 inches in size. Really, really impressive. This storm out in Lexington is going to go to the north of Nashville. However, you got to watch this one out in Hohenwald. I hope I'm saying that correctly because it just popped up. However, oh, I take that back. It was a severe thunderstorm warning. It was a severe thunderstorm. However, has weakened. We'll see if it recycles or if it just weakens and pitters out up there. We will see what happens to that storm. What other questions do we have? We can take a look at just outside of South Bend, Knox, Plymouth. This is the northern side of Indiana here. We have a tornado warning here for watch goes until 11. Tornado warning goes until 7:52. 7:52 is, excuse me, that doesn't seem right. Maybe that's when it was issued. I just read 8 o'clock. There you go. That seems a lot better. 8 o'clock Eastern time. So that would be in the next minute. We will see if this gets extended right here. How's southern Illinois looking? Well, you got lots of storms right now. Let's go through. Let's start up here. Now, this is an area that we covered just, a day, 2 days ago? I think this was on Sunday. You guys told me how to say it, but I have forgotten. Terre Haute. Am I saying that correctly? Martinsville, Marshall, all included in this tornado warning right here. That remains in effect until 7:30, so we've got another half hour on that. Going into excuse me, a little hiccup there. Marshall, Paris, Vermilion. We do have a confirmed tornado down in the far southern side of Illinois as well. Zoom out so you can see what we're looking at right here. So this is going into, or has already passed through, Newton, Oblong. You know, let's switch over to our 4-box. I think I actually have it pulled up right here. Here we go. This is the radar I want. And I will switch over so that you can see what I'm seeing. Is on YouTube, are you helping me out with that pronunciation? Is it Terre Haute? Is that how Terre Haute? All right, here is your 4-box. So we're seeing this with 4 different features on the radar. So we're looking at this storm right here that just went through Newton. We're looking for these little notches, and I'm making sure I've got the right radar. Out of Evansville, I think that's the best radar to use. Yeah, I think that that's going to be the best one to use here. We are getting some hail from this storm. We're getting some hail. I'm going to switch over. oh, this is correlation coefficient. So your hail is most likely right over here in St. Marie. And I'm very curious about, let me take some of these markers off here. I'm very curious about this right here. Right out here. You've got a little circulation over here. You've got a circulation we're watching for right here as well. They need to extend this tornado warning. This is moving to the northeast at 60 miles an hour. It's moving very, very fast here. So again, confirmed tornado, the National Weather Service saying that this tornado warning goes until 7:15. I bet that they will extend it then. At 6:48 Central Time, there was tornado producing storms were located along a line extending from Newton to Bogota, moving to the northeast at 60 miles an hour. So just making sure, yeah, you guys can see what I'm seeing here. And we are getting hail from this storm. Probably some decent sized hail as well. And you know what I would do if I was the National Weather Service? I would be warning this little area as well where that red square is. It definitely needs to be extended. This warning needs to be extended going into Robinson. Now they do have severe thunderstorm warning for this area, and I assume the severe thunderstorm warning is for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, some really high wind here. And there's that other tornado warning. Now let's go down to the south because, again, we were talking about the entirety of southern Illinois, which is still, this was the area that was in the high risk for today. This was the area that we expected a major tornado outbreak, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. We do have tornado warnings ongoing from this entire line of storms that goes anywhere from just, draw a line parallel to St. Louis, go out to the east, go to Salem, to Luca, and then all the way down Mount Vernon, and then all the way down to the far southern side of Illinois. We finally have a little break in those thunderstorms, but anytime that we see a break, that means that we have enough room for maybe another supercell to organize and get kind of put together. This is a major storm right here. Okay, definitely a tornado. Let's see if we can switch over to our different radar. We're going to switch over to our Paducah radar. And yeah, that's a much better view of this radar, or of this storm right here. I'm going to take those signatures off. Really, really, really impressive velocity signature right here. That's what you see on the upper right hand side of your screen. You're watching right in here for this tornado that is moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. I'll read to you what the National Weather Service is saying here. They're saying this is a particularly dangerous situation. Take cover now. At 6:50, about 15 minutes ago, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located over Dutchton or near Chaffee. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But they are saying at 6:50, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado is moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. From the National Weather Service, this storm has produced damage near Delta. So they are, of course, asking everyone to shelter in this area, and you should be in your shelter already. You should be in your shelter already. If you are not in a tornado warning out in places like Vienna, Karnak, Reesville, Simpson, go ahead and get prepared. Goreville, get prepared to take shelter here pretty soon because we have a particularly dangerous situation. This tornado most likely rain wrapped, most likely very difficult to see unless maybe I don't know if you could see this tornado very well. I think that it would be very difficult to see this system here, or to see this tornado on the ground. So make sure that you are in your shelter or preparing to get in your shelter if you live in southern Illinois right now. Yeah, SS on YouTube is asking, just got a National Weather Service notice. Yeah, and this is exactly why. I don't know where you are in southern Illinois, but most likely, really anywhere in the southern side of the state, absolutely needs to be taking cover right now. We have another tornado warning. I think this one is a new warning going into Harrod. And what we have here is it's moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour. It's very, very difficult to keep up with these storms whenever they are moving so fast at 55 miles an hour. It's very difficult to keep up with these storms. So again, southern Illinois, it's Tornado City down here. We are watching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at least different storms that are capable of producing a tornado, if not actually producing that tornado. You can see up in Newton, we do have a confirmed tornado up here. Fairfield, tornado warning, Mount Vernon, Benton and Marion. And this makes me think of southern Indiana. Make sure that you have a plan if you are in southern Indiana, because these storms will be moving to you next. Southern and even like south central side of the state. Have a plan, because these storms will be moving to you next. We can kind of go down here. Let's actually switch back over to our composite radar. There we go. There is your composite radar. And I just want to show you what's going on across eastern Arkansas. All the way down to the south, we have a confirmed tornado moving out of to the south of Texarkana, moving to the northeast. So Texarkana, it's not going to hit you. It's going to be on the east side of the city, pretty far out to the east here. But I am looking ahead here at some of these other places that have already gotten hit, like Leola, Grapevine. You could also get hit once again from this storm that's out in Texarkana here. Lots of confirmed tornadoes down in the eastern side of Arkansas, from Forest City to Wynne, Marked Tree, Kaiser, Etowah, Victoria. We have another particularly dangerous situation here. So let me read what the National Weather Service is saying here. At 6:59, a confirmed tornado and extremely dangerous tornado was, at 6:59, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located over Leechville, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Weather spotters did confirm this tornado. They're saying flying debris may be deadly for those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be destroyed, and considerable damage to homes is also possible here. Businesses, vehicles is likely. Considerable damage to homes, businesses, and vehicles is likely, and complete destruction is possible. That is intense wording coming from the National Weather Service. Very intense wording there. They are stressing how dangerous of a situation this is. And we can switch over to our 4-box in this area. Let's see, what's the best radar to look at right here? Probably this one. Okay, let it pull in some data here. And yeah, I like this radar. Okay, let's flip over. And while I do this, feel free to let me know if you have any questions or comments in the comments section. I can see those in front of me, so I can read those as you ask those questions there. I'm going to switch radars here to our Memphis radar. Now, Memphis is another place that got hit earlier multiple times, or at least outside of Memphis. Got hit multiple times. Where were we? We were right in here. Yeah, yes. Okay, so we have 2 tornado warnings right now, 2 confirmed tornadoes, one coming out of Paragould and the other out of Lane City. I'm seeing if the National Weather Service gives us any more updates on this here. Kind of reading and taking a sense of the situation right now. So we're watching this storm and it's cluttered and it's extremely hard to identify. So the National Weather Service is most likely relying on chasers to tell them exactly what's going on here. And I hope that those chasers know what they're doing, because as they said earlier, this is a very dangerous situation to be out in. I think that both of these tornado warnings are particularly dangerous situation, PDS tornado warnings. So that is very, very rarely issued. Most likely during this time, you're going to hear the WIA alert on your phone. So the WIA, it makes that loud noise on your phone like the Amber Alert does. And you will also hear those tornado sirens out your window. Now, of course, you can't always rely on the tornado sirens. So hopefully people in this area have already heeded the warnings and taken shelter. Again, this is moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour, and we could have potentially at least two tornadoes on the ground right here. So we are continuing to watch this very closely. Not a great radar spot. There's not great radars around here, but it's not bad. It's not as bad as it could be. What other questions do we have now? Scott asking, what is the pink polygon? So the pink polygon is a confirmed tornado. So the red polygons are tornado warnings, but they turn pink once the National Weather Service can confirm that tornado. And of course, you guys kind of know the drill here. If you have friends or family that's in these areas that are out ahead east of this line here, make sure that you are either screenshotting, commenting, sending your families either this video or another forecast. As long as they get their forecast and they're aware of storms that are coming in, that is the most important thing here. Of course, my family's in Oklahoma. Whenever I see storms in Oklahoma, I always send them a message just to make sure that they are prepared and that they're watching those storms, because I cannot tell you how many times people will say, I didn't even know it was supposed to rain today. And I think, oh no, make sure that you're prepared, right? Joey is saying, yeah, Chicago didn't really get any storms today. We had told you, our forecast was that it was going to be a pretty low chance for storms in Chicago. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, yeah, we did not see that severe weather in Chicago today. We do have another tornado warning up in Bourbon, Milford, northern Indiana. This tornado watch has been extended, and let's see what time this tornado watch goes until. Also a flood watch in this area. So over the next 5 days, you guys are going to get a lot of rain. I'll take that down a little bit. Let's say, what's today? Wednesday? 3 days. You guys are going to get a lot of rain over the next 3 days. So you're also in a flood watch here. So make sure that even whenever you get outside tomorrow, you are taking your time on the roadways. Give yourself plenty of time here. Alrighty, your tornado watch goes until 11 o'clock Eastern time, 10 o'clock Central time. So you've got another almost 3 hours left on this watch here. That's what's highlighted here in pink. I know a lot of people were asking what are those pink polygons, but the pink boxes that are behind this radar, that is your tornado watch. And this purple box, you can kind of see the different shades there. This purple box is a PDS watch, particularly dangerous situation box here. That basically means that these storms that are coming through have the potential to not only produce tornadoes, but produce violent, strong tornadoes, which means EF3 or stronger. And that is unfortunately exactly what we're seeing coming into Blytheville, Armorel. I hope I'm saying these correctly. Again, that tornado warning ongoing for a tornado that we know is on the ground, moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. So again, we are hoping that everyone in this area has heeded that warning. Alrighty, I'm going to go back to our comments here. What other comments do we have here? I'm watching the comment section here. As we have so many storms across the U.S. right now. I mean, look at that line of storms. It starts up in Michigan and goes all the way down into almost into Texas, Louisiana. From Louisiana to Michigan, we have a line of storms. These also confirmed tornado warnings here. Go back to the National Weather Service saying a confirmed tornado was located 7 miles west of Bradley, moving into, not quite sure why it's not, moving into Spring Hill here. So confirmed tornado is likely right here, moving to the north and east. This is down in the far southwestern portion of Arkansas. Going up to the north and east here into Forest City. This is a shape that we have seen storms make just over and over and over today. This like almost like upside down C shaped here. John likes to call it like a bean shaped here, like in Forest City to Haines right here. So your tornado would be most likely right in here. We've seen this just over and over and over today. And here's what we're seeing. We're seeing ping pong ball size hail and damaging tornado possible here. We did confirm the tornado, however, have not confirmed that ping pong ball size hail. Most likely, and we can actually, let's pull this up on GR Analyst here. I will go to your, let's see what terminal does here. Terminal not bad, but we'll switch back and forth between terminal and your Memphis radar here. So let's switch over radars. I'll show you this, and then we will talk about what to expect in Dallas overnight tonight, because I know there's some questions about that. So out of Forest City, a very well-defined area that we have confirmed a tornado produced from this storm already. And if we go over to your Memphis radar here, you're just going to see a different view. Right there, there's your tornado, and then your hail farther back to the north, and most likely seeing debris lofted into the air with this as well. So again, this is in Forest City. This tornado warning goes until 7:45, so we've got another 24 minutes on this storm. We're expecting ping pong ball size hail and that potential for a tornado on the ground right now coming from this storm. Another question on YouTube, will these storms keep moving east? So yes. Simple answer, yes. If you guys have watched my lives before, you know that I'll take a simple answer and I'll make it complicated. So I'm going to try to keep this simple. We have a term, and I will not use it to keep it simple, in meteorology. That means that these storms could be, the storm motion could be moving to the northeast, but the overall line of storms are moving to the southeast. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I'll give you an analogy. Think about football players on a football field. They're moving all different directions, right? But their main goal is to advance the ball, we'll say, in this analogy, obviously to the touchdown, but we'll say advance the ball to the southeast. So these storms could be moving to the east, they could be moving to the northeast, but overall, that line of storms is moving to the east, moving towards that touchdown, moving towards the end zone. Does that make sense? So that is kind of the idea here. Storm motion is moving to the northeast. This line of storms moving to the southeast. So very simple question, maybe a bit of a complicated answer, but I hope I made it as straightforward as possible. Let's get to your graphics here. It's going to take me just a moment to pull up your graphics to get to your timeline for storms that we're expecting overnight tonight and into Dallas. So in the meantime, while I do pull this up, if you have any other questions or comments, I've got another 30 minutes to be on here and answer all of your questions here. And I will pull up your graphics to show you timeline for Dallas tonight. It's going to be a very, very late night storm system. Okay, so we're talking 2, 3 a.m. in the morning for Dallas. Storms will start to fire. Oops, pull up that radar again. Storms will start to fire right along the highway and then out to the west, and then slowly unzip into Dallas proper as we head into the early morning hours, most likely before you would normally wake up for work. You know, this is like 4:30 in the morning, unless you're a really early riser. This is most likely before you wake up for work. So let's get to that timeline here. Alrighty. All right, just checking my timeline. I like the way that it looks, so I will show it to you now. All righty, here we go. So here you go. Here's your future radar. This starts at 1 o'clock this afternoon. All of this is obviously past. So let's go until 7 o'clock here. It's about 7:30 right now. You can see that storms are slowly progressing to the east. Now, here's the thing about these storms right now. These storms that stay out in front of this long line of storms, so these storms that stay out in front here, those are going to be the most dangerous for those strong, violent tornadoes and large hail. You get into this line of storms and all of these storms get really cluttered. It's really hard for storms to organize at that point and produce those larger hailstones. What at that point we normally see is that tornado and wind threat. So it switches from a tornado and hail threat to a tornado and wind threat. So that's what we're seeing as we move into the late night hours tonight and into tomorrow morning. As we head into the early morning hours tomorrow, so we're talking about 1:30 2 o'clock, I had 2 o'clock for my timeline for Dallas. By 2 o'clock, you're going to start to see these storms fire up. And once they bubble up, they're going to go up fast. So this model, the NAM 3K, is keeping most of these storms to the west of Dallas. Can you get a storm in Dallas proper? Yeah, it's absolutely possible to get a storm in Dallas proper. However, I think that the better chance, and I'll show that model one more time. So give me one more time here. Can you guys still see my screen? Yes, you can. Okay, so I think that that better chance for storms in Dallas. Show you one more time. There's Dallas. Okay, there's your storms that are firing up. 1:30, barely anything on the radar. 2 o'clock, whew, there they go, right? Your best chance to get storms into Dallas will be between about 3, 4, 5 a.m. So maybe as you would normally get up, it's going to be an early wake-up call for you in Dallas. The HRRR brings in more storms in Dallas than what the NAM does. Which one will be right? We'll have to see. But I do think that there's a really good chance for severe storms producing large hail in Dallas today. Now, here's what I'll tell you about the forecast, and I can show it to you. So this model, or this forecast, hasn't been updated since noon today. However, I still believe in it for the Dallas area, okay? So I still think that we could get up to tennis to baseball size hail in Dallas tomorrow. I think that is absolutely possible. Again, that time frame for Dallas proper will be between about 3 and 5 in the morning. That time frame farther to the west, a little bit earlier, and then up to the north, your hail sizes are going to go down. And that tomorrow morning, let's see if I have Thursday's outlook. I do have Thursday's outlook. So tomorrow morning, we'll just kick off just a round of storms, just round after round that we're expecting to see during the day on Thursday, another round on Friday. It seems like once one round starts to calm down, another one gets going. You can see that storms down in the southeast side of Oklahoma will have the likelihood to go severe as we head into the late morning, early afternoon hours, maybe even early in the morning. By your evening hours, you're back into Arkansas watching those storms fire up in a very, very similar place to what we see right now. You know, not only are we seeing storms right now, but in 24 hours, we're going to be having these same conversations. So it's just going to be round after round, which is why it's always important to get your most up-to-date forecasts, which is why I am really glad that Dave asked about Dallas, because it's important to get those forecasts every few hours, right? Because things could change every few hours. I think this is the third time that I've given this forecast today, and it's possible that things could have changed between now and our noon forecast. They didn't really. We pretty much stayed the same from what we saw at noon to what we're seeing in Dallas right now. However, it's definitely possible that this could change. You know, what happens now could impact what happens tonight, which could impact what happens tomorrow afternoon. You kind of get the idea here. Angela on YouTube asking, can it destroy a house? I'm not quite sure what exactly you're referring to. Now, if you're referring to the storms that we have ongoing across the eastern side of Arkansas, southern side of Illinois right now, the National Weather Service has said that it is possible that these storms will be very destructive. So I can flip back over to our radar here and show you that. But your tone, Angela, it seems like you may be a bit scared right now. We always say be prepared, not scared, okay? So no need to panic, but be prepared, right? You want to make sure that if you are in any of these areas to the east of this storm right here, see the line of storms? If you're in anywhere to the east, you need to make sure that you have a plan. If you do have a tornado warning, that you know what to do when you get that tornado warning. Now, we have had some reported tornadoes here. Let's go through this. And the question, very valid, because it, according to law enforcement out of Advance, which is in Stoddard County, Missouri, law enforcement are reporting 1 injury and 1 home destroyed and 1 injury from the tornado, which is very, very unfortunate. Again, this was in advance. Emergency management confirming out of Delta in Cape Girardeau County, I hope I'm saying that correctly, in Missouri. Significant damage from the tornado. They're confirming that. Very sad news here. Sad news here. We're seeing more confirmations of a tornado, a funnel on the ground that is very devastating, and more confirmations. You can see the path that that took all the way up the highway here. It doesn't say what highway this is or what road this is that goes from Advance all the way to Dutchtown, all the way just outside of Scott City. Now it looks like that same storm that went from Cape Girardeau, I hope I'm saying that correctly, has now tracked into Anna and into Goreville. So we still have that confirmed tornado warning here. And it is moving to the northeast at 55 miles an hour, moving pretty fast here. Moving fast. Moving into Marion, Harrisburg, not included in the warning yet, but that is a place that I want you to go ahead and get your precautions, you know, get your plan in place here. Now, some of these areas are areas that have already gotten hit tonight and that are getting hit for a second time with this line of storms. Now, here's the good news with this, if you can find good news in this. I mean, it is never, never, never good to hear about devastating injuries or houses destroyed. But this line of storms, after this moves through, the risk goes down significantly. So for the rest of the evening, people back in Piedmont, Farmington, St. Louis, you guys are severe clear. So Little Rock, you're about to be severe clear. If not already, you've got rain going on right now, but you are about to be out of that severe risk. Now, I know that we've got some people watching from Nashville right now. Nashville was a question that we got about earlier. Right now, we do have little hailers out there. That one that's south of Bowling Green could turn tornadic. This looks pretty promising right here. This is just a scene that we have seen over and over and over today. These classic supercell structures right here. Either way, in Nashville right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings. However, you have to keep an eye on these little pop-up storms out there. That is something, they look little, but they could be mighty. And that is something that we have to keep an eye on. And then, of course, you've got this entire line back into Nashville that you have to be aware of. Once the sun goes down, you will not be able to see these storms coming. So make sure that you have multiple ways to get those weather alerts. What other questions do we have right now? I've got about 20 more minutes to answer your questions and chat and make sure that all of your questions are answered before I hop off here. I do see a lot on X. A lot of people are watching from X or Twitter tonight. And those people who are watching on X, you can't comment on X, unfortunately. I can't get your comments. However, if you switch over to YouTube or Facebook, I can get your comments on there. One thing that we did see earlier today, I know I had someone hop on here earlier and ask about somewhere up in the Northeast. I think the question was New Jersey. That may have been the question. You know, one place that surprised us today was Pittsburgh got tons of quarter-size hail. We saw tons of quarter-size hail. Excuse me. I misspoke. I mean, we did see quarter-size hail, but we saw golf ball size hail in Pittsburgh today. So that was very surprising. I don't think it's still on my radar. My radar here only goes out 4 hours. So I think it was over 4 hours ago. It was right after lunchtime today that we saw those storms in Pittsburgh. And yeah, we were saying pummeled in Pittsburgh because golf ball size hail is something that we said was possible today. That was possible, but Those storms just blew up on the northwest side of Pittsburgh, and we have pictures of that on our Facebook page if you're interested in seeing those pictures and videos of that hail falling in Pittsburgh today. Let's see what other pictures we have, because we do have a lot of photos that we can show. Wow, lots of photos. Alrighty. Let's start out in Arkansas. Or let me know where you want to start at, and we can just kind of go around and show these pictures. Of course, if you have pictures from the storms tonight, if it's safe to take those pictures and send them to us, because we love to see your pictures. We will show your pictures if you want us to. If not, we won't. Alrighty. So this is out of Austin, Arkansas, and here, you know what I'll do? I will leave that radar up in the far corner of my screen so that you guys can still see those ongoing storms out there, tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings. Of course, we don't want to look away from that right now, but I do want to show you what we've seen so far today. So far today, this is out of Austin, Arkansas. This was posted on Facebook, and we were given permission to use this photo. So larger than golf ball size hail out of Austin, Arkansas, moving to Yellville, Arkansas now. Yellville, Arkansas. Peggy Pinkowski is saying just a little scattered hail, but she's saying she has a great point here. So this is a 2-incher. This is pretty decent size hail right here. She has a great point. She says, we have 3 days of this predicted. She's exactly right. It's not only one day of storms here. You get round after round after round of storms coming in here. So don't put your guard down after these storms come in tonight. You most likely have another chance for storms as we head into the next few days. We actually have a chance across the US for the next 5 days. So we have tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. At least. Who knows about Monday? It's too soon to tell about Monday. This from Twitter is from Bluffton, Indiana in Wells County. This is actually from this morning. Got some good golf ball size hail there, probably larger than that. Like 1 3/4, that's golf ball size. Definitely larger than a quarter. Out of Tennessee, this also posted on Twitter here. Here's a little bit of hail, just larger than a quarter, just barely. Very large hail between Mount Gilead and Cedar Grove. This is also in Tennessee. That's a really, really decent sized hail right there. I told you guys that we had tennis balls reported already today, or baseballs even reported already today. This, compared to a baseball, this is in Jackson, Tennessee, or this is in Clarksburg, excuse me. This is in Clarksburg, Tennessee, and this was posted by Jay Lasyke. What are other pictures on here? Morgan Clark posted quarter size hail in Jackson, Tennessee. Here's another one posted on Twitter by S. Young in Lakeland, just outside of Memphis, 1-inch size hail. Maybe a bit larger than an inch there. And we've got two more, so get your questions in now before I hop off of here. Some really decent sized hail in Oakland, Tennessee. And last but not least, also Oakland, Tennessee. You can see those hail sizes, all different sizes there from the same storm. But the largest one looks to be golf ball or larger. So we appreciate everyone posting their pictures. Again, if you have any pictures, post them or send them to us and make sure that they're taken safely. Of course, that's the most important thing. But also tell us your location. Tell us the closest intersection to you so that we know where you're taking those pictures from. Alrighty, well, we are back on the radar now, so I'll do a little one last around the radar, and if we do not have any other further questions, I may hop off of here. Memphis is about to get hit, so maybe I will not, because look at this storm that's coming into Memphis right now. So this is on the northern side of Memphis. We're looking for this tornado right here that's moving into Jeanette, Crawfordson, Marion, in the far eastern side of Arkansas. Far eastern side of Arkansas here, and it reminds me that we can pull up our Memphis cameras. So let's see what our Memphis cameras look like. Let's see. I'm looking for those Memphis cameras. So I am looking. I have them now. What can we see here? Lots of lightning out there. I'll show this to you here in just a minute. Yeah, lots of lightning from the storm that's coming into Memphis right now. No longer confirmed tornado, but it has had a history of producing a tornado. Okay, let me switch over and show you what I'm seeing right here. So we are watching for this storm right here coming into the north side of Memphis. So I'll show you cameras that are just on the in West Memphis here, and then we'll go up to the north a little bit. Holy moly, all of the lightning that this is producing right now is nerve-wracking. It's shaking this camera quite a bit. Okay, let me switch over. All right, you can see it. Check out that lightning. Holy moly. Very loud. Oh, and we've got to turn. Now again, I'm not doing that. This is SmartWay. This is T-Dot that's doing that. Wow. Okay, so you can see this storm right here. Oh, and T-Dot. Oh, okay. So I'm not turning this camera. They are. And actually, while they figure out where they're turning it to, they decided so I'm gonna zoom out here and I'm gonna show you where we are right now, okay? I wish that I could turn on the weather here so that you could see this warning right now, but it doesn't look like I can. So I'll show you where we are. We're just across the state line. It looks like several people have pulled over, several semis here pulled over across the state line here. This is in West Memphis, and if you look down at the bottom of your screen, I'll make this radar just a little bit bigger there so that you can see what we're looking at. right there. So we have a tornado warning on the north side of West Memphis. So maybe if we go to the north, we could see a little bit more of that tornado warning. This one not moving around as much as those others did. Just a ton of lightning from this. Now, what I'm also looking for is I'm looking for people who are flashing their lights, you know, whenever you put on your hazards, because it becomes a hazardous situation. You know, these people that are coming out of this storm, we may be too far to the south for that to happen, but I was looking for those people flashing their lights there. Again, this is in West Memphis, but that storm, that tornado warning, is going just to the northwest of where this camera is located, okay? So we're just outside of it here, and it does not look like there's a better camera for this storm. None of these are confirmed that are moving into Memphis right now. And actually, if you look farther back to the south into places like Forest City, Clarendon, we don't even have a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, what I think is going to happen here is most of these tornado warned storms are going to be on the north side of Memphis. Okay, they're already to the north of Memphis right now. Down to the south, we could still see high wind and some large hail coming from these storms that are going into Memphis. So it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a little bit here. You're probably getting rain on the far northern side of Memphis right now, but we still have storms that are farther down to the south, so it may take a minute for those storms to actually reach Memphis itself. And we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in this area for storms that are moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. This warning is for 60-mile-per-hour wind speeds and quarter size hail. So we have still some strong storms coming into the area. Did my camera freeze or did the power go out? Let's see. Now in Memphis, not too impressive over on this side of the city. Not as much lightning as what we were seeing earlier. We were seeing just some major lightning earlier. Just a heads up for those in Indianapolis, we do have storms coming into Indianapolis right now as well. While tornadoes are possible here, your risk mainly are going to be for severe thunderstorms with half-dollar size hail and 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Some pretty strong wind there with that larger hailstone, so just larger than the size of a quarter. What are other questions here? Donald is asking, is there a chance that Ohio could get hit? Yeah, there is a chance. So I can actually pull up your timeline here, and we can switch over while we are waiting for these storms to move into Memphis. So we'll back this timeline all the way up. So it looks like you're going to have some isolated storms through the late night hours tonight. However, the main show is going to come in after 9 o'clock tonight. So you still have about an hour. Those storms are only at Indianapolis right now. But after about 9 o'clock tonight, storms will move into the northwestern side of Ohio first. and then into the central portion of the state through the overnight hours right around midnight. By about 2 a.m., we finally find those storms, mainly a wind event at this point, far off in the eastern side of the state. And then by the time you wake up and get out the door early tomorrow morning, you should be severe clear. So it will be an overnight event for Ohio. Donald says, we got some good hail near Akron today, but looking for more. Yeah, these storms could have some hail with it, but I think it's a pretty low chance. I'm not terribly sold on these storms having hail. I think that this will be mainly a wind event here. It's going to be a wind machine tonight. So through the overnight hours, that's when Ohio should get those storms. Going back to our live cameras here, here's your radar, and then we'll go back to live cameras outside of Memphis right now. Unsure if we're losing power in some areas or what's going on. But still a ton of lightning here. And I do want to check our power outages. So let's pull up our power outages here. Lots of power outages in Michigan right now. I'm actually a little surprised about, and not quite sure why, we have so many power outages in Michigan right now. Over 120,000 customers without power in Michigan. And I'm a little surprised about that. Across Indiana, 13,000 without power, 17,000 in Illinois, 16,000 in Missouri, excuse me, a little hiccup there, 36,000 without power in Arkansas, and about 21,000 without power in Mississippi. Let's go through some of these states here. You can see those areas that probably got hit harder than others that are highlighted there in yellow. Down in the far southern portion of Illinois, where we have been talking about over and over and over this area of the state, about 4,000 without power in Union County. Very similar area here, about 7,000 without power in Stoddard in Missouri, the far southeastern side of Missouri. This area is what we're talking about right here, where it's the southern side of Illinois and the far southeastern side of Missouri. This was in the high risk today. This was an area that we were expecting to get impacted pretty hard here, and it looks like that has been the case, unfortunately. Many without power, especially on the east side, east and central portion of Arkansas as well. One person from YouTube asking, is Dixon County going to have a tornado? Now, I think there's multiple Dixon counties across the U.S., so my assumption here is that you're talking about Dixon, Tennessee, and I can pull up Dixon, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. The potential for a tornado in this area is possible. However, you want to have a plan, be prepared, not scared, right? We talk about that all the time. So make sure that you do have that plan in place, because the chance to get a tornado warning is possible this evening. Give it another hour, maybe 2 hours here, and that tornado risk in Tennessee will start to, you'll see that this line of storms move farther into Tennessee, into central Tennessee there. So in about an hour, you do have the risk for a tornado. Just a massive lightning show going on in West Memphis right now. We're looking at this storm. I'm pretty sure we're looking at this storm that is on the north side of Memphis. Let me pull your radar back up here. So on the far side of your screen, there's Memphis. There's the storm. Your camera is right out here along this highway right here in West Memphis. So I'm going to leave this camera up right here. I'm going to look for some other cameras as well, but I'm going to leave this camera up right here. If you have any last minute questions, let me know and I will be right back. All right, thanks for sticking with us this evening. We are watching storms in the west side of Memphis right now. You can see all of that lightning that's excuse me, a little hiccup there, popping up on your screen. We have one other question coming in from Johnny on YouTube. Johnny is asking, has Indiana gotten any hail so far? And let me see here. Let's just go back to our maps here. We'll take this off. We'll go back to the maps. So let's get back into it here. And we'll go up to the north. We'll go to Indianapolis and we'll see any hail reports. So any hail that has been mapped by our meteorologists, that's something that you can find at hailtrace.com and the mapping section. However, we can see if we have any reports on here. It does look like we saw a report of dime-sized hail, penny-sized hail out in Stark, Indiana. Any other hail reports here? I don't see anything else popping up. So I'm rewinding the radar and we're looking at the last 4 hours here, and I don't see any other hail reports popping up in Indiana. We did know that this area of the country was going to be more of a wind machine than it was going to be a hail producer. So I'm not terribly surprised about no other hail reports. However, our meteorologists back at Hail Trace may have a different idea than what I'm seeing here, just quickly going through it. I can tell you, whenever we see stuff like this, do you see this right here? This is like a backwards C. We call this a bow. Like whenever we start to see storms bowing out, we'll say that term. What that means is high wind. That is a wind machine right there. If you ever listen to James Spann, he'll call it a wind bag. Like that is a wind machine, and that's exactly what this severe thunderstorm warning is warned for. 70 miles an hour for your high wind speeds up in Indiana. So that's my assumption for the rest of the night. If you see that thing highlighted there in purple, this like circle right here, this is called a mesoscale discussion. It means that they will probably issue a watch over the next, a tornado watch. Within the next few minutes, they have a 95% chance to issue a tornado watch here. What they say is that the severe weather threat will gradually increase across eastern Indiana into western and central Ohio into the overnight hours. Damaging wind and large hail are all possible. However, I would say it would be more of that wind threat than the hail threat here. And then they go on and talk about the tornado risk as well. So there is a tornado risk in this area. Right now, going into Indianapolis, this is now warned for 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts. This is a very strong storm moving into Indianapolis right now. And I see your question on here. Where did the hail fall in Tennessee? But again, strong wind going into Indianapolis right now. Hey, there's a hail report out in Union City at golf ball size hail. I guess this would technically be Martin for golf ball size hail. Now I only have another minute or two, so I'll answer this question. Another golf ball size hail report out in Camden, Tennessee. And once this live is over, this live will be over here in about 2 or 3 minutes. Once this live is over, go back and rewind it about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe a bit longer than that. Go to like the very middle of the live, because what we did was we showed pictures from hail all over Tennessee. So go back and look at that if you're wondering about hail in Tennessee, because we showed all kinds of pictures. I showed pictures from, let me see if I can get this list pulled back up. I showed pictures from Cedar Grove, Clarksburg, Jackson, Lakeland, and Brewston, Tennessee. And all of those can also most likely be found on the Hail Trace maps as well. If not, send us a DM. Just to the north of Nashville, I knew we had some large hail in here. Just to the north of Nashville, we saw baseball-sized hail. Look at this. 2.75 out of Ashland City. Baseball, ping pong ball size hail. Springfield got quarter size hail. We saw other golf balls fall in Camden. I think that's correct. Yes, it is. Brewston, we showed pictures of that earlier. We saw tennis ball size hail fall in. Clarksburg also showed pictures of that. So yeah, we saw a lot of hail in Tennessee. I don't know exactly where you're at or where you're asking from, but golf ball size hail as well. lots of hail across Tennessee. And now we're seeing those, now we're seeing those tornadoes move into Memphis, the northern side of Memphis. We are watching for that tornado threat right now. Alrighty, I think I got all of your questions on here, so I'm going to hop off of here this evening. Thanks for watching. Of course, follow us for more weather updates. Even if we're not live, we are of course watching those storms throughout the entire overnight hours. Okay, so we're watching storms 24/7. If I'm not watching it, because at some point we all have to sleep, right? If I'm not watching it, we have 8 other meteorologists who are mapping it. So they are mapping those storms as we speak. That's what you see at Hail Trace. They are phenomenal meteorologists. And one of those 8 is always watching those storms 24/7. I say one, but it's most likely, I think we had 5 mapping storms today. So we have a lot of people who have eyes on these storms. Is this a new hail report? New hail report just to the north of Memphis. Is this new? This is pretty new. This is about 10 minutes ago. Baseball-sized hail just to the north of Memphis. Technically, it's in Arkansas, far eastern side of Arkansas, in Turl. And I hope I'm saying that correctly. Alrighty, well, I'm going to hop off of here. Thanks for joining us this evening. We, of course, will be tracking these storms through the overnight hours, and we'll keep you updated on our social media, so make sure that you hit that follow button. We are we have a live every single day at noon, every single weekday, and sometimes on the weekends whenever there's a lot going on. So hit that follow button, hit that subscribe, and get those alerts whenever we have storms hitting the U.S. Alrighty, have a good and safe Wednesday night. Everyone stay safe out there.